Welcome back, friends. I'm here with Wally, who's getting his snacks, Moose, who's over there taking his naps, and it's been about 5 days since we've checked on our little worms, and because there is the migration happening, I thought, we should probably check on them more often. I have a bunch of, unfortunately, some fruit that went bad because our fridge and freezer died, and some avocados that, let's be honest, I just forgot about on the counter. Hid it under something else by accident. So I thought, let's use this prime food to our advantage and check on our migration and take care of some of our next levels. So because the migration is the thing I'm most interested with, I am going to start on this tier. Currently it's the third spot down, but this is tier 2 that we recently started migrating. And if you missed the last video, you should go check it out. We had some excellent worm ball action happening under the avocados that we used to bait them so they all kind of congregate together. And then we scooped them out and put them up here. So I'm going to check on this layer first, see how many worms are in there, and I think we can use some of these great avocados that are hella moldy to help bait the next group up. In case you were wondering, it's only been about 5 days, so I'm not expecting a lot of movement on this layer in the sense that they left. But we're gonna go straight to this layer. Woo! This is interesting. All right. Well, off the bat, I'm really excited because if you guys remember at the end of the last video, there was a bunch of cardboard and stuff here, and I had been piling it up as like a, hey, if you guys could finish this off, that would be great, thanks. And they did. Like, there's hardly anything left. This looks beautiful. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is stunning. This is gonna be so good for the garden. Hey Moose, you're here now. Look how big you are, big guy. All right, so hopefully now that I have the camera turned on, you guys can see a little better as I'm working in here, but I mean, this is damn near done, but there's definitely still some worms here, and that's fine. There's still some obvious food here for them to work through, and I'm sure there's babies in here that have got to grow up and whatnot. So to get them even more congregated and easy to get into, I have some like seriously moldy avocados that I've just kind of poked and they've fallen apart, like they're already molding. So I'm going to put 2 halves in here just like this, and we are going to let them come to these avocados here. Moose is here. Now that he's a big boy, he's so tall, he can see everything. So we got 1 avocado split in half here, and I'm hoping that in a couple days we can come back and they will have kind of congregated in and around it, and we can use the same method we did last time to scoop them up. The next layer I'm going to put on is tier 3. Technically, that one's position number 2, but it's tier 3, and it's the one that we migrated everybody to before, last time, I should say. So we're hoping, because this is a fresh bin, that they will come up from underneath and hang out in this bin. And this bin hasn't really been fed besides some avocados and some tortillas, but this is looking interesting. Okay, we definitely got some friends here. Yeah, we got some guys hanging out in our worm ball space. Oh yeah. They're pretty much polishing off these guys. And these were just the ones that we took from their spot below and gave them. Oh yeah, nice little worm party happening here. So this layer, because it's the one that they're migrating to, has not been fed yet. And it also doesn't have that many worms on it yet. So what I want to do is I do want to give them some food. However, I don't want to overfeed them either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a nice hole here because I really want to bury this in here so that the worms below can kind of get a hint of it and want to come up. So what I'm going to do is I have a nice little hole buried there. And I am gonna literally take some super mushy berries that were unfortunately accidentally frozen and have defrosted in the most unpleasant way. We'll give them a nice little berry party. And to help cover it, besides the fact that we're gonna put all the normal dressing on it, the shredded stuff, I am gonna cover it literally with the coconut core that's in here. I'm also going to cover it with some tortillas because I don't see why not. And then, for good measure, we are just going to coat the top of this area with just a little bit of shredded cardboard, newspaper, whatnot. Nothing crazy. There's really not a lot of food in this layer besides what I just put in it, so I'm not super worried about bugs just yet. So this layer is doing good. I'm pleased with how they're doing. I'm curious what we're going to look at in this top tier because I think that layer is getting close to probably being done. You guys can hear Moose serenading us in the background with his favorite toy, which is ironically, or maybe not ironically, also a moose. All right. So this already looks better to me because there's not as much activity on the top in the sense of like literal worms hanging up there. So last week, or I guess it's not even a whole week, about 5 days ago, when I fed this tier, we gave them the fruit tacos on this right side, and we had put the shreds all over. So on first glance, we can already tell. I mean, you guys can see from the angle, fruit taco was here. Now they ate it and it's gone. But this is a pretty populated bin. So before I feed them again, I want to have a look-see around and see really how many worms are in here. And not that we could quantify it super easily, but I'm curious to see, since we haven't really been checking on them as diligently as we probably should have compared to the other layer. Okay, it's hard to tell because I put it was a little heavy-handed with the bedding last time, but oh yeah, oh, here's where the party's at. Oh yeah. Well, here's our worms, precisely where they should be. So I think because they're close and they're working in that area, I am gonna go ahead and just start in this little pocket here because I think that'll help move them over a little bit and let them finish off whatever I can't see is over on the other side. So because I think they're gonna burn through this pretty quickly, I'm not super worried about overfeeding them, but I do have an apple core, and then these berries might look okay, but they're absolutely just mushed because they were frozen by accident in our fridge as it was dying. So I'm gonna put quite a few of them in here because honestly, you know what, screw it, we're gonna put them all in here. I think they can handle it. So normally I would be like, this is a lot of food, I probably shouldn't put it in here, but because I know it's like one of their favorite foods, I don't feel that bad. And I'm not worried about it because I know they're gonna go through this very quickly. But I am gonna put just a little bit of the bedding that's already over here on them, just to fill in any of the gaps. Also gonna put a tortilla on the top because why not? We have it. And I like to think it kind of works as like a food barrier as well. And then I have a bunch of paper towels that were slightly used this week with nothing bad for the worms. But I'm gonna heavily cover them with that. So we're not really pocket feeding in this instance, but we're also moving the feedings around a little bit, I suppose, so that way they can work their way around the bin a little bit and help process the bin in multiple spots. So maybe next time we'll come over here or something, but I guess maybe that's just pocket feeding, I don't know. I don't know if I want to, so here's what I'm toying about. I have 2 avocados. Should I put them in here for a worm party? I think I should. I think we should. I don't see why not. I mean, they're really moldy, so it's not like they're gonna take a long time to break down. Maybe we'll do that over here. Be like on your way after dinner. Over here, you get some strawberries, and then you come over here. Then you have a worm party. That seems like a good idea to me. This one is super gross. Yep, gross. We're just gonna put that in there like that. And then I have another one that oh, it's literally falling apart as I'm trying to pick it up. It's that mushy. Yep, that's pretty gross. I'll show you guys. I just kind of lined him up over here. This one was so mushy, it's not really, I don't think it counts as much, but I am going to cover them just because I have enough bedding right now where I can. And this, I mean, this tier is definitely getting pretty full. So I'm not saying I'm not going to feed it again, but I think we're probably going to let this tier sit. Although, who knows? There's a lot of worms up here. I feel like every time I'm like, I don't know, it'll be a surprise next time when I get here. And it is. I'm just going to sprinkle some of our mosquito bits in because there is plenty of moisture in this layer. Not too much, but I wanted to slowly kind of sink into the compost a little bit so they secrete into there. So that way, if there is any subtle gnat problems or bug problems, we can be a little bit proactive about it. And I have a big jar of it, so why the heck not? All right, so we're gonna help get our little worm friends over here back in their home. There really aren't that many crawling around, and I think that's because they really enjoyed their feeding last week, and it's a good, I think it's a good moisture level in here for them. So that's exciting. And for us here in Florida, it is largely going to be in the 80s. Probably, I think the next 10-day forecast. So today it's a little cool, but it's either upper 70s, lower 80s for the foreseeable future for us. But again, I really think that having them covered like this helps keeps them protected. So I'm going to continue to do that. Even though I like the hot frog composter how it looks, I think it could, it looks just fine with this cover on it. So thanks, guys. We made a heck of a bit of progress, I think, especially in the migration and whatnot, and we'll check in probably in another 5 or 6 days or so and just see how the worms are doing and check on the migration, because I think that's going to be the most interesting thing for us to keep track of right now. As always, thanks so much for watching, and if you missed some of the worm balls, make sure you check out the last episode. It's going to be super cool if you haven't seen one before.